I'm going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, November 1st, 2022 at 7 p.m. I'd like you all to please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thank you. Mr. Larry Osborne with LifeSpring Church is going to give us our invocation tonight. Thank you, sir, for coming.
You bet. May I say a few words real quick before I pray?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. It's on. Green light. I'm green.
Just pull it more closer.
Is that better?
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I spoke loud enough. I'm going to try to do this without crying, but I just want to say thanks. Thank you for the award a few weeks ago, but it's also been a privilege to be a part of this community, to be a part of the activities committee, the part of the city, and all the things that we've been able to do. So thank you for allowing me to be able to pray and all too. So we'll get to that. That's the important part. So let's pray. Father, I just thank you for this evening, for this meeting. I thank you for this council and the leadership that we have here at Star. Father, I pray that you will be with this meeting tonight. You will be with each council member, with each presenter, with each staff member that has a part in this meeting this evening. We ask for clarity, for clear minds, for if there's any judgments that need to be made, you just go before and prepare the way. As I said earlier, I thank you for being a part of this community and for the leadership that this council gives to our community, for the involvement that they're able to have in all the functions and things that we do. So continue to use them, guide them, and bless them in all that they do. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And Larry, we do have from the city staff, the council, and myself, a card and a little gift in here for you as well.
Wow.
So we appreciate everything you've done for us here in Star and safe travels. But I do know you have family still here, I think, right?
Yes.
I will come back and seeing us. That's fantastic. Thank you, Larry. Okay, roll call.
David Hershey.
Here.
Kevin Wheelock.
Here.
Trevor Chadwick.
Here.
Jennifer Salmonson.
Here.
Kevin Nielsen.
Present.
All right, everybody's present. I'm gonna eat it. Can you hear me now? So I just want to say, so the public and everybody understands, we just went through a big technology upgrade. Thank you to Ryan Field and Miss Dana for getting this all done. And Brian, who is our IT expert with Duralink, right? Yep, sitting back there helping us out with this. So we got new microphones. We got new cameras for new camera angles. We're trying to make this experience better for everybody and make sure everybody can understand what's going on in their city. So when you guys get a chance, thank Ryan and Dana for getting this all taken care of here and Mr. Brian back there. So, all right, we are going to, and they can hear that too. All right, do we have a public input sign-in sheet?
There is nobody else.
Okay. All right. We just have Mr. Crash coming up here shortly. All right. So we had public input. No one signed up to speak. We're going to move on to our staff reports. We're going to have Chief Hessing come up here and talk about Star Police. So are you, Dana, are we going to, it's online. Yeah, I got to click on it. And we're still working out some of the stuff on here, guys, so bear with us.
You know, I'll introduce Deputy Prather first.
Okay.
Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Grateful for the opportunity to stand before you. I want to introduce our newest deputy, the Star. So Deputy Justin Prather, you want to mind coming up here? That way I'm not standing alone up here. As he walks up here, I want to, one of the things that I try to do my best is I try to handpick certain deputies for Star. I've been out here for just over a year, and I think the chiefs before me did the same thing. They tried to get the right people, right personalities for the city of Star. I met Deputy Prather back in June or July this year when he was being trained by Deputy Michael Henderson. And I immediately saw that he would be great for Star, the way he treated the public, the way his work ethic was, the way he wrote his reports, all those things that come into play of how we can make the community safer. I saw that Deputy Prather would be a big benefit to us. And so when I found out that Deputy Robert Denny, who was out here he came out in February, then left us in August. He went on FMLA leave, and then he got selected to go to a South County team, which is closer to his home. So when I knew that he was leaving in August, I called Deputy Prather on the phone before he was even off training. I said, "Hey, you get off training in about 2 weeks. How about you come to Star?" And I was very happy to hear him say, "Yes, I'd love to come to Star." So we're excited to have him. I'm going to read something here that's a little bio we put together for him here. Deputy Justin Prather is a lateral transfer from Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office. Justin graduated from a small Christian high school in the city of Lancaster, California. While in high school, he worked at a feed store named Hemi Hay and Feed until he was 20 years old. And this is what's amazing to me is at the age of 20, he was accepted into Los Angeles County Sheriff's Academy. So you have to be 21. Imagine in California it's the same way as Idaho. You have to be 21 to be in law enforcement. So for him to get accepted to the academy at 20 means he probably turned 21 in the academy or close there too. Yeah. So he started right out the get-go in law enforcement. And I'm guessing part of that, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning, but he comes from a family of law enforcement. Yeah. So, but I think both his mom and dad were actually retired out of LA as well. So he worked for Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office or Sheriff's Department for 6.5 years as a deputy sheriff. While working for LASD, he was assigned to Lancaster Station where he worked patrol. He was also assigned and worked in a crime suppression team assisting in parole and probation, compliance, and proactive policing in their higher crime areas. I know that City of Star is very much interested in proactive policing. I don't think we have quite the crimes that he probably saw in LA, but I'm excited to use his experience and wisdom in that team he was on for that proactive policing. So his last several months in LA County, he worked as a school resource deputy. I want you to key in on this for a second. This is how fortunate we are in Star. So during this time, he was assigned to 8 different schools from 6th grade to 12th grade. If you imagine Deputy Fowler, who's our school resource officer out here for Star Middle School, he's assigned to Star Middle School and he helps out with Star Elementary. So you could say he has 2 schools. Well, Deputy Prather had 8 in California. So I can only imagine the workload and what would go into serving 8 schools. Justin moved to Idaho in April, where he began working for the Ada County Sheriff's Office. Justin completed the Ada County Sheriff's Office Academy and the ACSO Patrol Training Program last month. Justin is excited and feels very fortunate to be assigned to the City of Star, where he lives with his wife and children. So I want to welcome Deputy Prather to the City of Star.
Welcome. It's awesome. You probably see some of your residents down there. We have lots of California, Los Angeles area
You know,
too.
it's funny. I see a lot of people. I was wearing a old Hemi Hayne Feed shirt. And the guy was like,
Oh, Sam, speak over there. Sorry.
no, he was just saying, hey, I know Hemi Hayne Feed. Used to go there all the time. It's funny. A lot of people from LA and California obviously are out here, but happy to be here. Excited to be here. Ready to get to work.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you picking Star.
Yeah.
So if Chief is recommending it, then it's probably pretty good. So that's good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
All right. I think next, in 2 weeks from now, we have our next sergeant that I'll introduce hopefully here when he comes. So I want to thank you for that as well. And we'll get into more of that in 2 weeks from now. But to jump into I don't know if you have
Dana, can you put that report up, Dana? Or the screen so I get the report?
So as they find that report, there's a few more things that we did to it to make it a little more accurate. We, working with data and analytics, there was some issues with the way that Idaho statutes and NIBRS shows offenses. And so they're able to clear that up and add that to the report. That made the numbers a little bit different. But the biggest change here is the way that our mapping system works. When I worked out here in Star back in 2016, we had what's called RDs. That was a reporting district, which is what that stood for. And all of Star was RD 91. Well, when we would do a report, we put RD 91 on everything. Well, now we don't use RDs anymore, but data and analytics, we're still using RDs. Well, as you can imagine, the way Star is growing, they outgrew RD 91. So what they were doing to catch up to the actual numbers we were doing is they'd use RD 91, and then they would look at all the calls that the STAR designators were going to and add that to the report. Well, that was very time consuming. As you can imagine, some of the calls would fall through. It wasn't the most accurate way to do it. So what they're doing now is they actually have the city of Star as their own on the map. That's their own mapping system, so we can see those numbers a little clearer. And on top of that, we're riding with the mayor went with me in a car, in my patrol car, and I showed him the MDT and the mapping system on it, and came to realize that we were missing parts of Star that had been annexed into Star, but still showed North County. So I've been working with the dispatch center to add those annexations, and I think they've been working with Ryan Field as well, and trying to get all those annexations so we're showing what actually is a city of Star. So as we slowly add those and make sure our mapping system's up to date, those numbers will change just a little bit as we continue adding that to our mapping system. So hopefully that is as clear as possible. Kind of jump into the September police report, and I apologize. I know this is November now, and we're talking about 2 months ago. But with me being out of town and a few changes to the report, it took a little bit to get the report here. So for the month of September, we had 17 total crimes that reported NIBRs. That was 8 person crimes, 4 property crimes, and 5 society crimes. The projected range that we look at to make sure that we're still staying within that the comp plan of the city of Star, we're between 16.1 to 18.2, still projected for crimes per 1,000, which is a lot lower than other cities around us. We're trying to maintain that down there, and it's staying there, which is a good thing. The calls for service that I'm looking at, the proactive policing, we had, look at this, no, it's up there. So if you look at this, we had 314 calls for service from citizens in the city of Star, which if you look at a year ago, we're at 433. So that's dropped by quite a bit. The proactive policing, if you look at that, it's 1,061 that we went to. In the proactive policing, that again is when we're actually going out and creating calls ourselves, either making traffic stops, checking businesses, welfare checks, checking schools, getting out, talking to the public, all those things that we're doing to try to get in the community before crimes happen. We have 1,061 of those calls compared to a year ago. We're at 677. So I think we're doing a good job there and keeping up that the ratio that I like to see is anything above 3 to 1. And right now we're at about 3.5 to 1 from proactive policing to reactive calls. The crisis mental health, that's one thing I noticed that it jumped from August 22, it jumped from 3 to this month to 9, or to September to 9. So we did have quite a few more crisis calls we went to. However, we didn't have, in the month of September, we only had 1 mental hold. So I'm not sure what those calls were, but they were called originally as crisis calls. We had 237 traffic stops that were performed in the month of September, and 38 crash responses, which was up from 27. So quite a few more crash responses. And I don't know if that has to do with the new, people going back to high school or whatever it might be that we get there. So that did jump up quite a bit. However, overall, we had 22 code 3 calls as we call them. That's lights and siren going there. And that doesn't mean we had 22 calls that we went to, but we had 22 officers running code 3, 2 calls. So if you had 2 or 3 officers going to 1 call, that would match that 3. That'd be 3 code 3 calls to 1 call. So we're underneath our 4-minute goal of 3 minutes and 51 seconds. And I hope to see that still go down as minutes and seconds matter in responding to calls. I did go through and see what exactly those crimes were. Sorry, I'm not used to this mic. I can hear a little feedback. The 8 person crimes that we had there was 2 from one call that we went to. They had it down. The crime description was kidnapping/abduction. And when you read that, it sounds scary. It wasn't that scary. It's actually a family fight that occurred where somebody was kept within a house, all adults involved in it. Somebody was kept inside of a house, wasn't allowed to leave. So the report stated that, and that's what it was. So again, nothing huge to look at as we would look at originally. Kidnapping usually is a really big red alert that we want to keep an eye on. That wasn't this call, but that did come out as that. We had 5 simple assaults and 2 intimidations. One was a text threat, and the other one was just a verbal threat from juvenile to an adult. The property crimes that we had 2 theft of motor vehicle parts. We're seeing some catalytic converters be stolen. There's quite a few within all of Ada County that we're seeing. It's seeing a spike in people cutting off catalytic converters. In the month of September, we did see 2 of those. We saw 2 vandalism calls as well. The society crimes, we had a total of, 3 drug equipment violations, which means they had drug paraphernalia on them, and 2 drug narcotic violations, which means they actually had the drugs with them as well. So that kind of breaks down what happened in the month of September. And I think, again, I'm excited to see that we are keeping up with the proactive. We're making a lot of traffic stops, trying to help out with some of the traffic complaints. But is there any questions or concerns that I can answer from the city council?
I'm just going to ask you a question. When you said you heard feedback, just because this is new, it's in your headpiece?
No, it's not my headpiece.
Because I can't hear it. I'm so deaf. But you can hear the feedback. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might be the way I talk too.
All right. Yep. Any questions of Chief? No, and I believe we're going to, did you have a question? Okay. And I believe we're going to have the October report next meeting, right?
Yes.
On the
Yep.
15th. So we'll be all caught up to speed at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I think Dana muted me or Mike or shut. Okay. All right. Jacob, do you have a report for the city clerk's office, treasurer's office? You want me to pull anything else specific?
Yeah, bring up that monthly treasurer's report. So this is your quarterly financial report as of September 30th. That's unaudited. However, today I found more revenue that I was not made aware of that we hadn't put in. And that's from the Idaho Power payment that came in a little late, about $28,000. There's also other revenue too that cycles through that doesn't necessarily show up right away too. So that is, you budgeted $12.6 million for your total funds and revenues, and you brought in 14.4, about 115% above your budget amount. Then you also spent only 80% of your budget amount. Now, we still have some capital projects such as this room that are being booked into last fiscal year as well. So that's going to come out a little bit differently. So when we have our audit done, we'll issue another audited or another fourth quarter report up to 30 days after the audit presentation. That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Any
Okay.
questions?
Any questions of Mr. Jacob? Okay, hearing none, thank you. We'll move on to item 6A, the consent agenda.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman?
I move that we approve the consent agenda consisting of item 6A, the approval of minutes for October 18th, 2022.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. We'll move on to item 7A. I'll need the other screen for me, please, real quick, so I can just pull this up. How about now? Is this, how about now? Is that better? Okay. On to item 7A, the Ada County Star Hazard Mitigation Plan Resolution Adoption. We're going to have Mr. Crash. Everybody's asked, is that his real name?
No, but my mother was twisted, but not quite that twisted. Yeah, so it's just easier to say than Marusic, which is my last name. So I am Crash Marusic with Ada County Emergency Management and Community Resilience. We do support the city of Star in the emergency management mission. And I'm here to talk briefly about the Ada County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. The hazard mitigation plan is actually mandated by the federal government. Every local community that wishes to participate in hazard mitigation grant funding must have a FEMA-approved mitigation plan. This is a 5-year update process that occurs. The city of Star was one of the original participants in this plan. They started back in 2006. They've been participating ever since. This is the 4th iteration of the plan. That 5-year cycle is critical because it allows us to go back and look at the community as we grow and then examine those hazards of concern in relation to our growth, what we're doing, and also to examine what steps we've taken in the past to reduce the risk to people, property, lives, et cetera. And it's part of our larger planning process. So we did go through and run all new models for flood, for earthquake. We looked at the wildfire risk. We examined all these things. And the entire hazard analysis you'll find in volume 1. If you went online, you can find that plan online. The reason I mention this is you're being asked to adopt all of volume 1 and then only the City of Star's part of volume 2. So volume 1, just so you're all aware, is that hazard analysis. And then it's the plan mechanics. The Federal Emergency Management Agency asks that we follow a very specific process, which includes public outreach. We must have a public comment period available so people could look at the plan, give us their feedback before it's submitted. All that is documented in volume 1. So FEMA's ensure that we are following the process as laid out in the guidance. So that's volume 1. Volume 2 is the annex, and each of the annexes for our 21 separate planning partners. Those planning partners are able to look at this hazard analysis, look at the flood model, look at the earthquake model, examine the wildfire risk, and then rank those hazards as they apply specifically to their jurisdiction. Once they rank those hazards, they're encouraged to try to find mitigation actions, which would reduce, I want to be specific. In emergency management, we talk about mitigation because mitigation can mean a lot of things, different things to different people. We talk about fire mitigation, that tends to be a pretty immediate action. When we talk about a mitigation in this case for natural hazards, we are talking about some form of sustained action that's going to reduce the risk. So if you were putting a larger culvert under a road so it would never wash out again, something like that. So we are looking at sustained actions to reduce risk to the public with this process. So each of our partners have gone through, they've, again, as mentioned, ranked those hazards. They've developed various activities they could do to reduce that risk. And that's what the City of Star's annex includes, their ranking and then the particular projects that they're wanting to move forward with. This plan is what makes you eligible for both pre and post-disaster mitigation funding. There are a couple different funding programs, pre-disaster, one called the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program, another one called the Flood Mitigation Assistance Program. Those are nationally competitive. I'll be honest with you, pretty tough programs to get money out of. It is a 25-75 split. If you decide to go 25% to the community, 75% to the feds. The post-disaster mitigation funds is where we've seen this community actually receive the most money, or any of the communities here. And after the flooding in 2017, a lot of people applied for monies to help try to recover from those flooding events along the river and restore some of those things that were damaged during that flood. So this plan has gone through the public review. This plan has gone through all those steps. It has been approved by the state, and we have what's currently called pending approval from FEMA. That means they love the plan. They liked it. They didn't even give us a comment saying how we should improve it. They said, this is a great plan, but they won't give us final approval until you adopt. So I'm here tonight to encourage you to adopt. So we move that forward, and all 21 partners that are involved and all of us have a FEMA approved plan. I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Crash? No, hearing none.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Crash.
Thank you.
We'll move on, and here's a copy of the resolution that's sitting up here on top. I'm sorry, up on the screen here. So we need to make a motion to approve this resolution.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey,
I make a motion that we approve resolution TBD-2022, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Star authorizing the adoption of the 2022 Ada County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries, that passes. So, Mr. Crash, do we need to sign one and get it to you? Is that what we need to do, the resolution? Okay, so he will get it to the, we'll give him a signed copy and he'll get an electronic version to the state and FEMA. I believe FEMA, correct? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to item 7B. Give me just a second here. It is the Keebler House. We're gonna have Councilman Wheelock talk about this treehouse contract.
There we go.
Okay,
So I came across this tree that has been harvested out of the ASA office in Boise. It's one of the oldest trees that was planted in downtown Boise in the early 1900s. And it was harvested. It moved to the next slide. It has been hollowed out and prepped to become a playhouse of sorts. And with that opportunity to put an activity at the River House that kids can do, I think it has some fun history with it, as well as the opportunity to have some entertainment, as we've spent activities down there with kids that are tired of just sitting around and visiting. And it gives them an opportunity to have an activity that is safe and fun and a eventful place at the River House. So that's the opportunity. It will put a lid on it and build the house up on top. It'll have little climbing stairs in the old tree, and so you can access it through the original tree trunk. Any questions?
questions of council?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So does the quote include the house part on top, or is this just for the tree and getting it ready for the house?
The bottom phase 2 is the turnkey, includes both the house and the tree.
Okay. All right. And then how tall is it? I didn't see that on, yeah, like,
If you go to the pictures, maybe scroll through.
so is that
so
like a regular sized door?
That door is about 4 feet, 4.5 feet. It's kind of small. The tree stands about 12 or 15 feet tall as it sits right there.
All right. And then there's a ladder inside.
There'll be a ladder built
There will be
inside.
a ladder
Yeah.
that's installed in the inside of the tree. Yes.
And then like, it looks like the house itself is a pretty good size at 10 feet by 6 feet, I believe.
5 feet,
Scroll
3.5
up.
to the,
Well, that's the
bottom,
height.
yeah.
And if you go up a little bit, yeah, it's 10 foot by 6
by
foot.
10
Yeah.
outside edges. Yeah.
So it'll be pretty good size.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's super cute. I love the idea. My only concern is with safety. So do we have any plan for, say, late at night? Could we
Yes,
maybe think about putting a lock on it?
we are going to probably put a time lock on that door
Okay.
right there. It won't be done at the time of install. That'll be something that our staff will take care of. Bob will on that. And the location that we're looking at the River House is kind of between the River House and the barn, which will be cambered as well. So
When does this project look to be finished?
It has a 3-month building window. When you give it the go, we can start at any time is my understanding.
it'll have a concrete structure that it's sitting on. That's all engineered. So it doesn't have the tilt or any of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I love the idea that it's repurposed, has some history. Where would the money come from?
park impact fee money, it'd be part of our capital improvement plans down there at the River House complex. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good historical value with the tree. It kind of fits in with the motive that we have going on down there. Motif. Not the motive. The motif down there at the River House, and it provides a play option for the kids down at that area. Similar to what when we look at danger, I don't see this any different than the big playground that we're putting in at Hunters Creek with that big tower in the middle. I think it's the same, and I think we'll be fine out there. My concern was the inside as well, but if we have a time lock on there, and the officers will have a electronic key to get in, they can get into that thing if they need to.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman?
I think I love the idea, and I think the only thing that comes into my mind is having a regular inspection. Right. Thinking of an old tree with a really big box on top, little base, big top, wind, just time.
We can schedule inspections and stuff, and just so you know, the fire department looked at this too.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
they were
imagine
okay
our
with
engineers
this.
looked at it.
Yeah.
And I'm the last one to have an opinion. I just want to call it out that
And
So we-
that's a fair point. We can schedule the inspections. We could have a yearly inspection, just like you can put it on the same scheduled cycle that we do with our playground equipment. Because that has to get inspected also every year.
yeah.
So it's not, we could do the same thing.
Yep. Let's do
So-
that. It's a great idea.
I would recommend that we take some of the asphalt playground material and put in the bottom of the base.
The rubber stuff.
The rubber stuff, so that that's
We
a
can do
little
that.
softer impact. So, because it's gonna be a concrete base under there, and if we fill the bottom of that with the playground material, I think that'll help.
So any further questions, motions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the treehouse contract.
Set a limit. Mayor Chadwick,
Council Nielsen?
I'd like to second that motion.
Oh, do we need to put the amount in, Chris? Not to exceed or?
It's always good to have a not to exceed, just
So we'll make a motion to have the contract not to exceed 32,000.
So I want to because if you want to do the rubber material in there, you're going to have to add more money to that. So if you say not to exceed
Not to exceed 35,000.
35,000, and if it costs more than 3,000 for that rubberized material, we could come back to the council for approval.
Not to exceed 35,000.
I'll amend the second.
So we got a motion by Councilman Wheelock and a second by Councilman Nielsen. We have any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Hershey,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
I
Nielsen,
All right.
And
we got
capital
the
improvement
Keebler
funds.
L.
park impact fees.
Correct.
Yay.
Okay, thank you. That motion carries.
Should have asked Keebler to sponsor.
Well, we might ask them to sponsor after the.
That's right.
Okay, we'll talk about something else that. So we'll move on to item 7C, the ordinance for the Stardale Place subdivision. We need to introduce the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey, sorry.
I'd like to. Well, Mr. Mayor, which ones are coming off? It's.
Well, we're just going to do C, and then we'll just talk about D and E after we're done with this one.
Okay, I'm just going to do C then. I'd like to introduce ordinance 371-2022 Stardale Place subdivision and development agreement. Can I also make my move at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, and I also move that pursuant to Idaho Code Section 50-902, the rule requiring an ordinance to be read on 3 different days with 1 reading to be in full, be dispensed with, and that any ordinance, and that ordinance number 371-2022 be considered after reading once by title only.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a second.
Hershey,
Yeah, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Nielsen,
Aye.
Salmonson,
I,
Nielsen,
Wheelock. You said Nielsen already.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Wow.
Hey, that motion carries.
I feel forgotten.
We had approval. Now we need a motion to approve the ordinance.
so Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman
Before
Solomon.
we do that, it does state on the agenda here, it says a quarry at the River Park annexation. The title is different. It says Stardale, but it says a quarry.
Should not be, not, it,
Is that we should,
can we, Dana, can I go back to the other screen for me, please? I have to pull the ordinance up so we can read the ordinance. Huh? No, the public needs to see the ordinance that we're reading too, and this right here gives us the correct title and everything on the top. Okay,
all right, well, I will go ahead to move ordinance number 371-2022. The Stardale Place subdivision annexation and rezone. An ordinance annexing to the city of Star certain real property located in the unincorporated area of Ada County, Idaho, and contiguous to the city of Star, more specifically located at 343 North Center Street, Star, Idaho. Ada County parcels R8-108-001240 and specifically located at
oh, and rezoning.
and rezoning, thank you, and rezoning certain real property located in the city of Star, more specifically, right, located at 331 and 385 North Center Street in Star, Idaho. Ada County parcels R8-108-001065, R8-108-001125, R8-108-001183, and R8-108-001185. The properties are owned by Piedmont Project LLC, establishing the zoning classifications of the annexed and rezoned properties as residential with a development agreement R-7-DA of approximately 3.39 acres, directing that certified copies of this ordinance be filed as provided by law, providing for related matters, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I second the motion to approve.
Councilman Nielsen seconds to approve. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman Solomon?
I believe we do need to amend the DA though, to include the detached sidewalks. That's not include on Center Street. That wasn't included in the development agreement, but I know that we included that in the motion.
So we need to amend the DA. So do we need to amend the motion? No? Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
David Hershey,
Aye.
Kevin Wheelock,
Aye.
Jennifer Salmonson,
I,
Kevin Nielsen.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Item 7D and 7E, those two ordinances, we are actually pulling off the agenda tonight. There is still some work that needs to be done on the development agreement for Sean. So we will hear those at a later date. They'll come out at a later date. Correct, Sean?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and Council, also, we're noticing some spelling errors on these ordinances. And apparently,
Well, that's on that. So that's why, so that's on the sheet here,
okay.
but
So-
on the document up
Document.
there, they're not spelled correct.
So it's because of the way that's been
Right.
changed. I just want to let you know that.
Yep. Okay, items F, we're gonna go to the Highway 44 bid document approval. As you know, we are going to be putting out the bid on December 15th. Is that correct there, Ryan Morgan? December 15th, right?
That's when bids will be due.
Oh, I'm
We are
sorry.
Putting it
Sorry.
out to bid.
Correct.
in
The bids
3
will be due
weeks.
on December 15th. We're going to be putting them out the bid here in the next couple of weeks.
That's correct.
To do the widening of Highway 44 from Canada Road to Star Road. There's several addendas on there. I need to pull up that sheet on there. This is our advertisement for bid. As you may see, it says State Highway 44 Bent Lane to Star Road. There's a question as to whether or not we're going to be doing a section of Bent Lane as part of that Notera development that we're still working through. But at the least, it's going to be Canada Road to Star Road. And Ryan could talk about that real quick.
That section will most likely be there. The question really is who's paying for that section.
Right. So that'll be coming up. Either the Notera development, we throwing money in for that, or it'll come out of this proportionate share agreement. So on here, if you guys want to see the plan view, this is the plan view. There's a whole set of documents that'll be out there that you can look at as well if you would like. But I don't think that's necessary. We're not the engineers. So what I need from you guys is a motion to approve the bid advertisement so we can move forward on this.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Wheelock,
I make a motion to approve Highway 44 bid document approval so that we can move forward with the project.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would second that, Mr. Mayor.
We had a motion by Councilman Wheelock and a second by Councilman Hershey. Any further discussion?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman Solomon?
So I did notice in the document on, if we can go to, is it in the full packet or is it just the,
I need to go back to the screen. Bear with us, everybody. We're
Sorry. So
learning
there
a
was
new
a-
system.
there's a date that's incorrect in here and it's, let's see.
On the advertisement, the bid?
So let's see, it's in section 14-1. So not that piece, but the document. I don't know if it's important that we update it in the document because that goes out to bid, correct?
We will
Yeah, so
want
what-
to make sure that's updated before these documents go out in 2 weeks. Yes.
Okay. So if you just want to make a note maybe and correct it then. So it's in section, well, it's on page 14-1 and it's section 4.02. And it has a December date, December 2022. Yeah, right there. Oh, let's see.
Oh, section 14.01.
Article 4, no, what? Let me see what page and number you're on. You're all, okay, go down. Oh, there. Keep going down. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
When you
Go
say
to page-
14.1, are you looking at
So,
this number
yeah,
here?
that number right there. Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so yeah, right in here. Right there, 4.02.
Okay, 4.02, you see that,
So it
Ryan?
has the,
Oh, this is substantially complete. So for the basin alternatives, the work will be substantially complete on or before June 15, 2023 or December 1, 2022 if alternate C is awarded. So we need to correct that, December 1.
We need to get that second date updated. I agree.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. Okay,
Thank you, Councilwoman. Good catch.
all right. Yeah, that would create high prices. They got to get it done before,
well,
15 days prior to they submit a bid.
yeah,
So, okay, we have so is that all? that you
yeah,
had?
that's all I,
Okay, so we have a
Yep.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hershey.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
I,
Nielsen.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. We'll get that out and hopefully that provides much needed relief on that side of town for our citizens. And we don't need to go into executive session, Chris. I don't think anything has changed. Okay, so we will not have to go into item 7G. And so at this time, it is, what time is it here? 7:44.